In the cold dark of space, a small blinking signal lit up on the Empire scout ship screen. It was coming from a single unknown ship, far beyond the main trade routes. The crew looked confused. There wasn't supposed to be anything out there. It's a Terran signal, the young sensor officer said. His captain raised an eyebrow. Terran? As in ... human? The officer nodded. Yes, sir. One ship, not responding to hails. The captain laughed. One human ship? Alone? In our sector? Must be a lost freighter. He tapped the screen. Mark the coordinates. Send it to High Command. Hours later, the Empire's main fleet responded. The full Armada 7, made up of over 300 ships, was deployed toward the unknown Terran vessel. The commander of the fleet, Admiral Carthan, received the report. So, the humans dare send a ship into our region? He sneered. Let's greet them ... properly. Far ahead of the fleet, sitting calmly in the silence of space, the Terran warship Vindicator waited ... inside. Captain Ray sat in her chair, watching the screens in front of her. Her ship was cold and dark, like a sleeping beast. They're coming, said her first officer. I know, Ray replied, voice calm. The crew around her looked tense but ready. Everyone knew this was not a simple patrol. This was a mission. Of purpose, of warning. Vindicator didn't look dangerous. It was not large. It had no bright colors or grand flags. But it carried something far more powerful than appearance. It carried silence, stillness, and something the galaxy had forgotten, fear of Terrans. Back on the Empire flagship, the fleet approached. We're within range, said the navigation. Officer, Admiral Carthan smiled. Send a message. Give them one chance to surrender. A bright signal flashed across space, carrying one simple message. This is Admiral Carthan of the Empire. You are surrounded. Power down and surrender immediately. If you do not respond, we will open fire. There was no reply. Carthan leaned forward. I said send again. Still nothing. The Admiral scowled. Foolish humans. They always think they're stronger than they are. On board the Vindicator, the crew watched the message come in. Captain Ray remained silent. She did not even blink. Her first officer asked softly, should we respond? Ray finally spoke. No, let them think we are weak. Let them feel confident. The more they laugh, the harder they'll fall. A young engineer whispered, they outnumber us hundreds to 1. Ray smiled without joy. Numbers don't matter when they don't know what they're facing. The Empire ships began to move in. Formations tightened. Cannons and torpedoes came online. The fleet surrounded the Terran ship in a wide circle. One of the Empire captains noticed something strange. He zoomed in on the Terran ship. Double quotes, sir. Their engines are cold. What? There's no heat, no power readings. It's not even turned on. Admiral Carthan frowned. A trap? No one answered. Aboard the Vindicator, lights flickered to life. Systems started humming, but no weapons were seen. No shields were raised. Captain Ray stood up. She walked slowly to the front of the bridge and stared out at the stars. They think we're asleep, she said quietly. They think they've won already. A countdown appeared on her screen. 2:00 to fleet engagement. She whispered to her crew. Let them come closer. They won't get a second chance. Her crew nodded. No fear. Only trust. Every one of them had volunteered for this mission. Every one of them had lost someone to the Empire. Now, the Empire would lose something too. As the final minute approached, silence fell across the Vindicator's bridge. The Empire's Armada was now in perfect range. Admiral Carthan gave the final order. All ships, lock targets. Prepare to fire. Just as he raised his hand, the Vindicator's front hull split open. From its heart, a strange blue light glowed. Silent, steady dot. No one on the Empire's side understood it. But Captain Ray smiled. It begins. She whispered dot, and in that moment, the stars held their breath. Asterisk, the glow from the Terran ship continued, deep and quiet, as if the stars themselves were listening. Admiral Carthen squinted at the screen. What ... is that light? He asked. Confused dot, no one had an answer. One of the fleet scientists replied nervously, It's not plasma, not fusion ... We've never seen this energy type before. Carthen waved it off. It doesn't matter. They're one ship. We are an empire. He leaned back in his chair. Fire at will. Dozens of Empire warships launched their first attack. Hundreds of plasma blasts and torpedoes streaked through space, glowing like comets. But before they could even reach the Vindicator, the blue light pulsed once. All the incoming fire dash vanished. No explosion. No sound. Just gone. One Empire officer stared, jaw open. The weapons ... disappeared? They were erased, whispered another. Carthen slammed his fist on the console. Fire again. All ships. Inside the Vindicator, Captain Ray stood. With arms behind her back, the crew remained silent as the Empire fired again and again. Wave after wave of deadly weapons flew toward them. And again, they all vanished the moment they touched the blue light. Still no response from us? Ray asked calmly. None, Captain, her comms officer replied. Good, she said. Let them exhaust their pride. The Empire flagship's control room was in chaos. Admirals yelled. Engineers sweated. Ships began to shift out of formation. They were losing patience. And more importantly, they were losing confidence. Admiral Carthen shouted, Why is nothing working? A sensor technician cried out, Sir, the Terran ship just scanned the entire fleet. In 1 second. That's impossible. But it wasn't. Every Empire ship had just been touched by the Vindicator's quantum eyes. Now, the Terran ship knew everything's shield frequencies, energy cores, weapon loads, even the personal files of each commander. Back on the Vindicator, a hologram opened. It displayed a complete map of the Empire fleet. Captain Rhea's voice turned sharp. Target their flagships first. Disrupt chain of command. Her first officer hesitated. Do we kill them all? Ray paused. No, she said. Let 1 or 2 escape. Let the Empire tell the story. In the next moment, the Vindicator made its first move. It didn't launch missiles. It didn't fire lasers. Instead, it sent out a silent wave of dark. Ripple across space like a breath. Then suddenly 10 Empire warships lost all power. Lights out. Engines dead. Weapons frozen. Inside one of the ships, the crew screamed in confusion. We've gone blind. We've gone deaf. The systems are burning from the inside. Help us, someone? But no one came. Admiral Carthen's face turned pale. He watched the wreckage of his ships drift like broken toys. This is not a warship. Double quotes, he whispered. It's a message. But it was already too late. The Vindicator released its second wave. This time, the shields of 40 Empire ships failed at once, and the hulls started to melt. From the inside, no sound, no glory, just quiet destruction. Panic swept the fleet. Some captains tried to retreat. Others begged for orders, but Carthen had no plan left. Everything he knew about war was useless here. A commander on a nearby ship sent a final message. Sir, we're not fighting a ship. We're facing something made to erase empires. Inside the Vindicator, the lights remained dim. Ray looked tired. Her face calm, but her eyes carried heavy memories. The Empire had destroyed her colony 10 years ago. They called it necessary. They called her people statistical losses. Now she called this justice. "We don't kill for fun," she said softly. "We end the game fast." Her officer asked, "Should we charge the core?" Ray nodded. "Begin charging. Prepare the eye." At that moment, every surviving Empire ship received one message. Broadcast on all channels. It was text only. "Your Empire has forgotten who humans are. This is your reminder." Admiral Carthen watched the screen fade to black. He could no longer see the Terran ship, but he could feel it. Somewhere in that dark blue light, something ancient had awakened the Dot, and it was not going to stop. Asterisk? The stars around the Vindicator seemed frozen. No one spoke on the bridge. No one dared move. Only the low hum of the ship's hidden systems could be heard rising slowly like a storm. Just beneath the surface, Captain Ray stared at the glowing display in front of her. "The eye is charged," said her weapons officer. Ray gave a small nod. First strike, clean, controlled. On the Empire's side, confusion was turning to fear. Admiral Carthen's fleet had lost dozens of ships, and the rest were breaking formation. "This doesn't make sense," one officer shouted. "They haven't even fired a single missile." Then, "How are our systems failing?" Another replied, This is impossible." Admiral Carthen didn't answer. His hands gripped the edge of the control table. He was watching one ship destroy his entire armada without even trying. That's when it happened. The Vindicator's blue light dimmed for a single second. Then a silent shockwave burst outward in all directions. There was no explosion, no visible blast. But it moved faster than light, and it struck hard. In just 3.2 seconds. 73 Empire ships shut down, not exploded, not damaged. Dead. Their cores collapsed. Shields flickered and failed. Control systems cracked. Airlocks melted. Inside the ships. The crew screamed as the lights went black and oxygen failed. They didn't understand what had hit them, but Captain Ray did. "The eye doesn't fire energy," she whispered. "It erases order." On the Empire's flagship, systems sparked and shorted out. "We're hit." Someone yelled, "But nothing touched us." Carthen's voice shook. "That ship is ... rewriting physics." His second-in-command looked pale. "Sir, we have to retreat." But retreat wasn't simple. Not anymore. Their jump drives were dead. Even their distress signals were being jammed. And the Vindicator was still just sitting there, not moving, not chasing, not rushing. Just watching. On the Vindicator's bridge, the crew watched the results. Screen showed red icons turning black ship after ship, dying silently in space. Ray turned to her officers. "Send a narrow beam message." Just 4 words. Her comms officer nodded and typed quickly. On every remaining Empire ship, a message appeared. "You were warned. Leave." Some screamed in frustration, others in terror. But one Empire captain, an older man with scars on his cheek, understood. He stood slowly, eyes wide. "She's not trying to kill us," he whispered. "She's trying to teach us." Admiral Carthen refused to accept it. He activated his personal override code and shouted into the fleet-wide comm, "I will not let one Terran ship humiliate the Empire. All surviving ships attack. Ram it if you have to." A handful of warships obeyed. They pushed forward, engines blazing. But it was no use. The Vindicator didn't dodge. It didn't shield. It didn't even aim. Instead, the blue light turned white for a moment. A ripple spread out from the ship like glass breaking underwater, and in a flash, the attacking ships just blinked out, gone from reality. No wreckage, no pieces. Just ... gone. Captain. Ray closed her eyes. "I gave them a choice," she said quietly. Her officer asked, "Do we let any more go?" Ray opened her eyes. "Yes, one. Let someone carry the story. Only 17 ships remained out of the original 300. They hovered, broken and silent, afraid to move. Their captains no longer wanted to fight. They only wanted to go home. And Earth would let them. This time, in the distance, the Empire's last standing. Ship sent out a message. We encountered a Terran warship. We attacked. We failed. Retreating now. Warn the others. Back on the Vindicator, the light dimmed again. The ship powered down, not because it was damaged, but because it had made its point. Captain Ray turned to her crew. Start cleanup. Reset core. We're not here to conquer. We're here to remind. Her eyes looked at the stars ahead. Let's go home. But deep inside the ship, something else was waking up. A second protocol. A system Earth had buried long ago. Cold voice whispered through the ship's systems. Next phase. Permission pending. Ray didn't hear it, but soon. The galaxy. Would * news of the battle spread faster than light. In less than one day, over 40 civilizations across the galaxy received fragments of a signal. 1 human ship, 300 Empire vessels. And only one side survived. Many thought it was a joke. Others thought it was propaganda. But the survivors, those few Empire captains who had been allowed to flee, never spoke again. They didn't need to. Their eyes told the story, and fear began to rise across every star system. In the Great Council Hall of the Galactic Union, ambassadors gathered in panic. This can't be true, shouted a lizard-like diplomat. The Empire's armada was unmatched. They fought a ghost, said another. A ghost in the shape of a human. A quiet voice, soft and cold, spoke from the shadows. An elder from the forgotten Velari species leaned forward. You all forgot what humans were built for, he said. They were never made to dominate. They were made to survive. And when cornered. Down to everything. The room went silent. Back aboard the Vindicator, Captain Rhea stared. At her crew's reports, 17 Empire ships escaped, her first officer said. Good, Ray replied. That's 17 mouths to carry the message. One young engineer, nervous, asked quietly, Captain ... Will Earth be proud of us? Ray didn't answer at first. She looked at the stars outside the viewport. Then she said, No, Earth didn't want this. Years ago, Earth had signed the peace code. Humans left the galactic stage. Too dangerous, too unpredictable. They said, We'll build in silence. But the Empire kept poking. Kept pushing. They destroyed human colonies, blocked trade, kidnapped Terran citizens. Earth sent words. Earth sent warnings. The galaxy laughed. So Earth sent her. Back on the Empire's capital world, the Empress herself stood in disbelief. She watched the sensor logs again and again. One ship. No noise, no missiles. Just silence and death. An aide whispered, Your Majesty, our fleet is gone. The Vindicator erased them like they were dust. The Empress trembled for the first time in her reign. Her crown felt heavy. Did we ... Wake. The monster? She whispered. On a desert moon far away, a group of rebels who once hated humans played the intercepted battle footage. They watched Empire ships vanish one by one, without any fire, without any resistance. One rebel leader leaned forward. These aren't monsters, he said. These are warnings wearing human skin. Back inside the Vindicator, a system alert appeared on Ray's screen. Second protocol activation, waiting on approval. Her heart froze. She walked to the console. What is this? She asked. The AI's voice responded softly. Earth authorized. Only one mission, warning. But internal systems detect mass galactic escalation. Do you wish to proceed to Phase 2? Phase 2. Ray had heard whispers of it in Black Ops. Phase 2, wasn't about sending messages. It was about ending empires. Ray's fingers hovered over the panel. Her crew looked at her, silent, waiting. No, she said at last. Phase 2 stays. Locked, for now. She turned off the alert. But far beneath Earth's crust, in a hidden command center, old eyes were watching. An old general with gray hair stared at the Vindicator's report. She held back. He whispered. One of the officers beside him nodded. Should we send another ship? The general shook his head. One ship was enough to make the galaxy remember. If we send 2, they might not survive the truth. He turned and walked away, and behind him, the monitor showed Ray's face calm, strong, and untouchable. Meanwhile, on the distant edge of the galaxy, a powerful alien warlord received the news. He stood in silence as advisors trembled. What now? One asked. The warlord looked at the stars. And for the first time in his life, he did not want to fight. Back in her quarters, Ray sat alone. She held an old photo-faded torn, a picture of her and her brother, smiling on a green hill before. The Empire came. I told you I'd make them remember, she whispered. Then she closed her eyes. And the stars kept watching, because something had changed. Not just one battle, not just one ship. The galaxy had remembered fear, and that fear now had a name, human, asterisk. The Vindicator floated in silence. It had not moved in hours, but every scanner in the sector was still watching it, waiting, hoping it wouldn't strike again. Inside, the crew remained quiet. They had completed their mission, but something hung in the air. Something heavy. Captain Ray sat alone in the command room. Lights were dim. No alarms, no sound. Just her. And a screen. On that screen, a blinking message. Phase 2 awaiting final command. Confirm? Erase Empire capital? She stared at it for a long time. With one touch, she could end the Empire's rule. No ships. No war. Just silence. Not one choice. One click? But was that what Earth wanted? Was that what she wanted? Her first officer entered quietly. The fleet has scattered, he said. Empire forces are retreating from nearby systems. No one wants to. Get close. Ray nodded. Good. Let the silence work. But he stepped closer, voice low. And the message, Captain? Earth is waiting for your reply. Phase 2 is still unlocked. She looked away. I know. Elsewhere, deep beneath the sands of Earth's Mars outpost, military commanders and politicians argued over a large screen showing the Vindicator's last move. She should have finished it. One general shouted, "We had the chance." "No," said a woman in a lab coat. "If we use the eye again, we become the very thing we warned them about." The Earth president stood, raising one hand. "She's not a button," he said. "She's a person, and she already gave them fear. That might be enough." They turned toward the screen, Captain Rye's frozen image, and they waited. On the Vindicator, Ray opened a small hidden drawer. Inside, a letter, handwritten, paper, old and fragile. It was from her brother. Before he died in the Empire's bombing, he had written her one final message. Don't become what they are. Make them understand. But don't lose yourself. She touched the edge of the letter with shaking fingers. Her eyes glistened. But no tears fell. She had no tears left. Suddenly, the AI's voice broke the silence. "Captain, incoming transmission. Low band frequency. From one of the Empire's survivors." Rhea's head lifted. "Play it." A shaky voice filled the bridge. "Terran ship. This is Captain Ellos of the Empire vessel Viren. I speak not as a soldier, but as a man. I saw what you did. I saw what you didn't do. And I understand. If you leave now, I will carry your message myself. I will tell them Earth gave mercy. Once. The voice paused. If you stay, we will only fear more. And fear brings more war. Please, go. Let us live with this fear. The message ended. Ray closed her eyes, then whispered, He's right. She stood, tall and steady. Her voice rang. Through the Vindicator. All systems. Shut down Phase 2. Prepare jump to Terran space. Her crew didn't question. No one cheered. But every one of them breathed easier. They were warriors. But not executioners. Not today. As the ship prepared to leave. A final scan ran across the galaxy. Sensors picked up hundreds of signal ships hiding. Stations watching. Enemies trembling in silence. And then the Vindicator vanished into light. Across. The stars, from the Empire's throne to pirate dens, from forgotten colonies to military fleets, everyone got the same message. No words. No voice. Just a visual. A single human, warship. Surrounded by destruction. Leaving without finishing the kill. The lesson was clear. Earth had returned, not with armies, not with conquest, but with one ship. One mind, and one decision that could have burned the galaxy. But didn't. Back on Earth, the Vindicator landed at a hidden dock. Rhea stepped onto solid ground for the first time in months. A general saluted her. She didn't salute back. She just said, I want rest. Not medals. He nodded, letting her pass. She walked alone into the city. No cameras. No parades. Only silence. And behind her, the galaxy trembled at what could have been. Asterisk, in the far corners of space, stars continued to shine as if nothing had changed. But for every civilization that watched the skies, everything had changed. They didn't see warships flying. They didn't hear Terran speeches. They only saw silence. And in that silence, the memory of the Vindicator lived. The Empire held no press conferences. They buried their dead ships quietly, with no names, no honors. The Empress locked herself in her tower, refusing all visitors. Some said she wept. Others said she started building. Something in secret. But everyone agreed on one thing: the Empire had been wounded. And not by a fleet. By a decision. On a jungle moon, a small alien school taught students about old wars and peace treaties. One young girl raised her hand. Teacher, what is the scariest weapon in the galaxy? The teacher paused, then pointed to a hologram behind her, a single Terran ship floating among wreckage. This, she said, not because of what it destroyed, but because of what it chose not to. Captain Ray lived quietly now. She didn't return to the military. No one dared ask her to. She opened a small shop on Earth's southern coast, fixing small sky bikes and fishing boats. Children sometimes stared at her arm scars from the war. She smiled at them. Always gentle, always kind, but her eyes carried galaxies inside them, memories of silence, fire, and stars that watched too closely. One afternoon, as she repaired an engine, a letter arrived. Handwritten. The same as the one her brother once gave. She opened it carefully. To Captain Ray, you saved the galaxy in ways they'll never understand. You taught them that fear is louder when it is silent. And you proved that Earth doesn't need to roar. To be remembered. From someone who watched and learned. In a distant command post beneath Earth's surface, the Vindicator remained sealed. It would never fly again. Not because it was damaged. But because its job was done. One ship. One strike. One choice. The galaxy had been watching, and it had learned. Meanwhile, deep in the stars, a secret council of old alien races met underground. They had watched Earth for centuries, feared its return. One elder stood up and said, "Do we prepare for war?" Another replied, "No, we prepare for peace. Because if Earth ever walks in again, we may not walk away. Somewhere beyond known space, A rogue fleet drifted pirates and warlords who hated Earth, hated humans, hated weakness. They saw the footage of the Vindicator and laughed. That's just one ship, their leader growled. Let them come again. We'll be ready. But deep in their ship systems, someone had already written, if the Vindicator comes, we run. Even monsters know when gods walk among them. Back on Earth, Ray stood on a cliff at sunset. Waves crashed far below. She wore a simple jacket and held no weapons. Just her thoughts. Beside her stood a small boy. He looked up and asked, were you really the one who flew that ship? Ray didn't answer. She smiled and handed him a small stone smooth, black and heavy. It came from the Vindicator's core, she said softly. It remembers everything. The boy stared in awe. Was it scary? He asked. Ray looked out at the sky. Yes, she said. But not because of what we did, because of what we almost did. Above them, stars blinked quietly, ships still, traveled. Empire still ruled. But now, they hesitated. Now. They remembered. Because once, in a quiet part of space, a single Terran ship met an entire Empire's fleet, and only one side walked away. Asterisk.